guys. This is my 5th time reading at Morningside After Dark, and I seriously cannot believe you guys still let me come up here. It's like so amazing. Thank you. Seriously, thank you. I actually wrote this essay about a year ago, and so when I found out the theme for tonight, I was like, oh, this is so perfect. Growing pains. I know a lot about that. So this essay is called Bob's Big Boy and the Best Fried Chicken in the World. Growing up, there were only 2 occasions when my family would go out to eat. The first was on a bribe, always involving church. Don't complain during Mass and I'll take you to McDonald's after, my mother would hiss as we genuflected into our aisle. As hardcore every Sunday and then some Catholics, that was a lot of McDonald's. On much rarer occasions, we went out for dinner. Both my parents grew up in the Richmond district in San Francisco, surrounded by some of the most wonderful ethnic food you can imagine. So it's a mystery to me how we always went to the nearest, closest greasy spoon when we went out to eat. Of course, I didn't wonder about it at the time. At the time, it was pure heaven. We all ordered chicken of some kind, fried for me, a side of fries with no ketchup, and milk in those wonderful brownish gold plastic cups that just make milk taste better for some reason. You know what I'm talking about? If you're under the age of 30 and or haven't spent much time in California, you might not know of the restaurant chain Bob's Big Boy. It's kind of like Denny's, only, well, it's called something different. There was a huge statue of an obese toddler standing outside of each restaurant. And I was never quite sure if the statue was of Bob or if that was his big boy or if they were one and the same. And now that I think about it, Bob's Big Boy is a really, really creepy name for a restaurant. At any rate, there was one on the peninsula somewhere. Maybe it was South San Francisco, possibly Daly City. I can remember eating at Bob's Big Boy many times as a child. I can remember the smell of the cigarettes being smoked in the smoking section, the coffee percolating on their burners behind the bar, the rows of gumball machines and small tins by the cash register where people drop their change and grab toothpicks. I remember us all walking in, hungry but excited. My mother would always ask for a booth rather than a table if it wasn't too much trouble. We would order our food, and my dad would make these huge toppling structures out of coffee creamers and sugar packets. And I would grab strawberry jam off the small jelly carousel and hide it until just the right moment when I could sneak my head under the table and rip off the top and down it like some sort of drug fiend hiding our coke habit. The times I ate fried chicken with my family at Bob's Big Boy are cemented in my mind. The happiest of times. Weren't they? Because a strange thing happened a while back when I started putting these memories into some sort of logical context. The Bob's Big Boy I remembered, it was tucked in the foggy San Francisco peninsula, was in the exact opposite direction of the way we always went into the city. So it made no sense that we would ever eat there, not to mention multiple happy times. Fine. I thought to myself, maybe I had the location wrong. Maybe Bob's Big Boy was in the East Bay somewhere in Oakland on our way home. That definitely made sense. But did it? Because when I really got to thinking about it, I specifically remember having our weekend visits into San Francisco. They revolved around eating at our grandparents' houses. We ate a lot of turkey and Jell-O mold, not delicious fried chicken. Right? I did what any person would do when confronted with conflicting accounts of truth and memory. I consulted Google. My search didn't get me very far. Bob's Big Boy still exists, but in tiny pockets of the Midwest and Los Angeles. Did my Bob's Big Boy memories happen in LA? Wait a second, that can't be right. Maybe I was confusing Bob's Big Boy with IHOP. But what about the statue I remember? The smell? It was real. Here's what I know for sure. Since childhood, fried chicken has been my comfort food. It is the food I seek out when I'm tired, hungover, hoping for something externally to make me feel better. When I was pregnant both times, all I wanted was fried chicken. Fried chicken means happiness and healing and innocence. It's a high I've chased for years now. But here's the problem. For all that fried chicken I've consumed over the years, I've never had fried chicken as perfectly perfect as the fried chicken I had at Bob's Big Boy. And this, more than anything else, is what doesn't make logical sense. The fried chicken I remember couldn't have been anything special. It was greasy and messy, sharing space with all other kinds of smelly fried foods and cigarette smoke that hung in the air. When I was a child, I hated peaches and all vegetables. I hadn't eaten at a Michelin star restaurant. I hadn't traveled yet and experienced the pizza in Rome. I had no idea what good food was, let alone the best fried chicken in the world. And yet, memory is funny this way. We embellish, omit, replace, and conjoin experiences so much, so often, that they become a new reality in our minds. And the more we talk about these memories and play them out in our heads, the more real they become until we don't know the actual truth. We don't know if it was Bob's Big Boy or Denny's, if it was San Francisco or Minneapolis, if it was really, really happy or just a moment of happiness that we've clung to over the years, shedding any extraneous feelings or associations like skin. What I've decided is that the details don't matter all that much. As far as memories are concerned, it's not what happened, but when. For me, eating fried chicken at Bob's Big Boy happened before life got really, really complicated. I could go out to eat at the best restaurant in the world right now, but I could never replicate the feeling of happiness and invincibility that I had at that time in my life. Of course the fried chicken was good. Everything was good. And maybe that is the only version of memory that matters. The version that takes who you are, where you've been, and all you have left to do, and condenses it into one beautiful drumstick, battered and deep fried, hot and ready to serve. Thank you so much.